Wrigley Field on a very hot and windy afternoon. The wind blowing straight out. It's the Hyundai leadoff man on WGN Sports. We'll have the White Sox and the Cubs coming up in about 20 minutes. Len Casper, Jim Deshaies coming up a little bit later. We're going to talk with Pat Hughes, the longtime radio voice of the Cubs, to talk about this great series. The Cubs have won the first two. They go for their fourth in a row dating back to Sunday. The leadoff man continues. The White Sox and Cubs coming up. I guess the Cubs going for the sweep, at least this week here with two different ballparks and the rain out. And great to have with us Pat Hughes in his 18th season as the radio play-by-play voice of the Cubs. Been a fun week, hasn't it, Pat, for the Cubs?
It really has. Two on the south side. A great game by Samardzija Monday night. Then the rain out Tuesday. But yesterday, Scott Feldman was very sharp. I think, Len, really the two wins over the White Sox have been two of the Cubs' best games all year, bar none.
And a big comeback on Sunday in Cincinnati. Momentum is a funny thing in baseball. It's usually about the next day's starting pitcher, and thankfully for the Cubs, that's been their strength.
Absolutely. Travis Wood going today, but the White Sox have Jake Peavy. This could be an excellent matchup here today, although it feels like it's a hitter's day. It's warm, it's humid, the wind is blowing. Tough day to pitch.
In terms of what it feels like this year, the Cubs have played now 51 games this season, 9 games under 500, but because of the starting pitching, it feels like this team should be better than its record.
Whenever you pitch as well as the Cubs starters have, there's always hope that things are going to get better. Because, Len, the Cubs are in almost every single game. When you get to the 5th, 6th, 7th inning every day, the Cubs are right there. They're within a run or two, and they have a chance to win. So when you pitch as well as the Cubs starters have, there's always hope.
Pat, one day you're going to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and you are honoring a lot of Hall of Famers. Your radio series called Baseball Voices, the Hall of Fame series, and you grew up in the Bay Area listening to Russ Hodges and Lon Simmons.
Two of the greatest announcers ever, and they had wonderful Giants teams. They won only one pennant in 1962, but they had Hall of Famers like Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda, Juan Marichal, Gaylord Perry. Russ Hodges made the most famous call in the history of sportscasting. Bobby Thompson's shot heard round the world in 1951. Lon Simmons had one of the best voices of anybody ever in our profession. But these are commemorative audio tributes to baseball's greatest announcers.
And these are all radio announcers, including your former partner, Ron Santo.
Ron Santo, the Ron Santo CD is guaranteed to make you laugh out loud. If you don't like to laugh, don't buy the CD. But if you do, go to baseballvoices.com. And Father's Day is coming up 2 weeks from Sunday. It makes a great Father's Day gift for the Cubs fan on your list.
And also you see Harry Carey. There's a CD commemorating his wonderful career. Milo Hamilton, another former Cubs voice, and many others, including your former partner in Milwaukee, Mr. Baseball.
And Len, these are very affordable. They're less than $15. Free shipping on all orders. Go to baseballvoices.com. Again, a perfect idea if you're, shopping for a dad on Father's Day and he loves baseball, and if he loves the Cubs, go to baseballvoices.com.
And happy belated 39th birthday.
39 at least. At least.
All right. Pat Hughes, the great radio voice of the Cubs. We're getting set for Cubs baseball. We'll have more on the leadoff man. It is brought to you by Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers, who invite you to come test drive the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit myhyundaichicago.com. Beautiful Wrigley Field on a hot, humid, and very windy afternoon. We're set for Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. The Crosstown Cup continues. The Cubs are dominating the White Sox so far, and we welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Great to have you with us. Along with Jim DeShays, I'm Len Casper. We'll get right to the pitching matchup. Two good athletes on the mound today. We'll start with Travis Wood.
Travis Wood, for the first time all year, last time out, did not record a quality start. We'll take a look at some numbers on Travis Wood that you may find somewhat intriguing. Batting average against by position in the batting order. Guys at the top, he has dominated for whatever reason. Guys down near the bottom of the order, he has not. My job is to explain it. I can't hang with him.
It'll be Jake Peavy, who won a Gold Glove last year, and he's coming off a complete game win.
Just a good, solid veteran. 126 career wins, 117 pitches in that complete game last time out. He's been really good against the Cubs in his career.
So the lefty Wood for the Cubs, the righty Peavy for the Sox. Now down to the field for our national anthem.
Kindly remove your caps and join Wayne Messmer, accompanied by Gary Pressey at the Lowry organ, as they honor America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the to that same old place, sweet home Chicago.
Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition on WGN TV is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Let's get the White Sox lineup. They have hit a .180 in this series. They've been outscored 16-3, but Robin Ventura is going to stick basically with his main lineup: De Aza, Ramirez, Rios. Paul Konerko at first. It was Adam Dunn yesterday. Viciedo in left. Gillespie at third. Jeff Keppinger with a season best 3 hits yesterday. And the battery, Flowers and Peavy.
Cubs defense is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Let's go to the outfield, where Soriano, DeJesus, and Scherholz cover left, center, and right. Valbuena, Castro, left side of the infield. Barney and Rizzo, right side of the infield. Wellington, Castillo. Back in there behind the dish today, he's catching Travis Wood, the lefty, who's 4-3 with a .273 ERA. That .191 batting average against, that's the third best mark in the league.
Get your umpires. Home plate umpire is Clint Fagan. Mike Everett, Scott Berry, Tim Welke, the crew chief, around the bases. Trying to make a Steely Dan reference, but I couldn't come up with anything. A lot of cloud cover. We may get wet at some point later, but hopefully it's after the final pitch has been thrown.
I got two guys pitching today who throw a lot of strikes, work quickly, so there's a chance this game could move along. The mitigating factor is that wind howling out, so it sets up to be a pretty good day for the hitters. Travis Wood has pitched against the White Sox just once, June 19th of last year. He was good. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run allowed.
You told a funny story. It wasn't funny to you at the time, but when you got hired to be my new partner, you told the story of your final big league appearance. We may get into that at some point because the conditions today reminded me of that story.
Yeah, that's why I broke into a cold sweat when I got to the ballpark today.
Alejandro De Aza takes ball 1, and we are underway.
Travis, as I mentioned last time out, the only time he has not made a quality start this year, only time he did not pitch at least 6 innings. He was going along nicely and allowed just 1 through 5, but a 4-run 6th inning against the Reds was his undoing.
Valbuena in at third as De Aza looks at a pitch inside, and it's 3-0. Hold on to your hats indeed. 24 hours out of, or miles per hour rather, out of the southwest. 80 degrees, but it feels warmer than that.
Muggy, isn't it?
It is. There's a strike, the first one of the day. So it's the first team to 5 runs today. The White Sox have lost 29 consecutive games when allowing 5 or more. That's the longest active streak in the majors. The Cubs are second. They've lost their last 28 when giving up 5 runs. And then ball 4. But JD, we talk on days like this, and you can speak through experience. You don't want to walk people because the 3-run homer is what kills you, not necessarily the solo, but it's easier said than done, right?
You got to minimize the damage and you can't be overly concerned early on about the conditions. You know, you got to go out and pitch the way you pitch. And again, yeah, just eliminate the mistakes in the field. Don't kick it around. Don't walk people. Don't set up the other club for a big crooked number.
That is in there for a strike on Ramirez. 2 hits yesterday, 2 steals as well. And we are email accessible, Len and JD at Tribune.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter too. Setting up inside as a catcher, and it's blooped, and it's going to be caught in shallow center by Darwin Barney.
Travis Wood has allowed 5 home runs this year. One of the reasons he's been so good is the ability to get the cut fastball in on the hands of the right-handed hitters. He's induced a lot of weak contact. He doesn't have great strikeout numbers. A lot of weak pop-ups, getting the ball in on their thumbs.
See, Rios stands really tall as he takes a belt-high strike. One for 16 after an 18-game hitting streak. It's the knees that time. 0-2.
Taking a long look at De Aza before making that pitch. I don't suspect either one of these clubs will be all that aggressive on the bases early on. Why take chances on the base paths on a day like today? I expect to hit a couple long balls, especially given the pitchers Wood and Peavy both really good at controlling the running game.
There's the 0-2. Busted him inside. That has long been Travis Wood's strength, but what he's added to that this year is the backdoor cutter to righties and the changeup away. Making the arm side of the plate for a lefty. Cubs made another roster move today with their bullpen. Right-hander Zach Putnam has been selected from AAA Iowa. And Alex Burnett, who made his Cubs debut yesterday, has been optioned. Kyuji Fujikawa, who's going to have Tommy John surgery, was transferred from the 15 to the 60-day disabled list. From 0-2 to 3-2 with Konerko on deck. Those two guys, Dale Swain, Paul Konerko, and many others in both dugouts were out late last night at the United Center watching the Blackhawks get into the conference finals in overtime.
In the conference finals or the Stanley Cup finals match up to that series with the Wings?
We'll find out.
If they do, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, maybe their toughest one. Runner was going, and we've got catcher's interference, and that one stung Castillo. Alex Rios is going to head to first. P.J. Mainville coming out to check on Welly. Now, sometimes, and most of the time, catcher's interference occurs. You barely notice it up here or on television, but you just hear a little something down at home plate. But literally the glove came off.
And this is the second one in just a matter of days. See how he drifts forward to receive that ball with the base runner going. That's typically when it happens. The base runner's in motion, catcher gets a little anxious, and fundamentally, they're better off staying back anyway. It's faster to let the ball travel to you than it is for you to reach out and get it. Just anxious there. Put himself in harm's way, and Navarro's going to go get his gear just in case. Either that or he's going to run and hide because he doesn't want to play today. He wants to sit on that 3-home run game.
So that will be no official at bat for Rios. Castillo also is charged with an error.
So here we go. We just got done talking about how it's so important to minimize mistakes on a day like today with the wind blowing out. We've got a leadoff walk to start the ball game, and now Rios reaches on a catcher's interference. Not sure what the outcome of that bat would have been otherwise. DeHonor getting ready. That's all he needs. Pump the legs 4 or 5 times, slap the gear on, hit 3 home runs.
Well, for now, Castillo's going to stay in.
Wow. Any hitter would want to stay in on a day like today. He's a gamer anyway. Tougher than $2 steak. Good.
Let's do this. So it'll be Konerko with 2 on and nobody out. The White Sox have yet to have a lead this week. And that includes the washout. It was 2-0 Cubs when that game was rained out in the 3rd.
Hitting just .235 with a low on base percentage in this ballpark over the years. He's been good, better than 300. He's hit 7 home runs here at Wrigley.
Said nobody out, 1 out here in the 1st.
Cutter in, little ground ball to 3rd, go around the horn for a double play. Probably what Travis Wood is thinking.
Called strike. Konerko needs 28 home runs to tie Frank Thomas for the Sox record. He's hit 420 in his career. Getting his first plate appearance today. He's got 8 games to go to tie Nellie Fox for 2nd on the all-time games played list. This is going to hit that side wall, and it's 0-2.
Travis has gotten the jump on Konerko here, but I don't think he's made his pitch either time. Castillo setting up inside, and it looks to me like they want to jam him with the cutter. And both those pitches have been out over the plate a little bit.
Wood set at the belt. And another lazy pop-up caught by Barney. 2 outs.
Jammed him that time.
Here's Viciedo, the left fielder. Quiet in this series, but his average over the last 22 games has gone from 118 to 269.
Again, trying to go in and threw it away. Got a swing and a miss. Sometimes early especially, it's just a matter of surviving until you get comfortable, find that release point. There he goes.
Shortest outing his last time out, but had to throw the most pitches of the year. 115 in 5 2/3, and a loss at Cincinnati. Viciedo went after that one. Couldn't get it. 1-2.
Viciedo getting better in terms of plate discipline, but still pretty aggressive guy. You can get him to chase out of the zone when you get the jump on him. Going back in. That's the beauty of that cut fastball from Wood. They might hit it hard, but if they do, if he throws the pitch where he wants to, it's usually going to be a foul ball.
De Aza started the game with a walk. Rios reached on catcher's interference. And a 1-2 to Viciedo, and it's rolled foul past Joe McEwing, the third base coach.
Super Joe. Super utility guy. He's one of those guys when he was a player you knew he was going to end up being a big league coach someday.
Cubs had Super Joe Jr. last year. Joe Mather. Another 1-2. He got him on a fastball at 92 for his first strikeout. Sox lead 2. The Cubs are coming up. Let's look at the Cubs batting order, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. To Jesus, Castro, and Rizzo at the top. Soriano's had a lot of at-bats against Jake Peavy. He's homered against him 3 times in 29 tries. Scherholtz in right, Castillo the catcher, Valbuena at third, Barney at second, and Travis Wood the pitcher.
Defense for the Pale Hose this afternoon. Viciedo, De Aza, Rios in the outfield. Gillespie, Ramirez third short. Keppinger, Konerko on the right side. Tyler Flowers is the hind catcher. And veteran right-hander Jake Peavy turns 32 tomorrow. 6-2, 2.97 ERA through 9 starts. Complete game last time out. His last 6 starts against the Cubs, he's 5-1 with a 133 earned run average. Good, tough-minded veteran. And a lot of tools in that toolbox. Fastball, slider, cutter, curve, and change.
12th year in the majors, and as you mentioned, just turning 32 tomorrow in a first pitch strike on DeJesus. David, a couple of knocks in the 9-3 win yesterday.
Peavy might not have the velocity he had a few years back, but still has a good fastball. And, you know, as I mentioned, a really good mix of pitches.
He's led the majors twice in ERA. Has won a Cy Young. That was back in 07. Won a Gold Glove Award last year. Best defensive pitcher in the American League. Pop foul.
National League West leading Arizona Diamondbacks in town this weekend for a 3-game set against the Cubs. Tickets are available for all 3 games. To purchase your tickets, how about Cubs.com? Two of the best young first basemen in the game. Paul Goldschmidt of the D-backs, Anthony Rizzo. Should be fun to watch.
Cubs will face 2 lefties in that series. And gets away from Konerko. And DeJesus is on. An error on a White Sox captain.
Konerko with a weak little pop to second base in the top of the inning, and now mishandling this fairly routine ground ball. Did take a bit of a funky hop on him, but he'd like to start this day over again. He stops moving at the mercy of the hop. Can't handle it.
Well, we beat Jeff Samardzija in the shoot the puck competition last night in the second intermission, but
that was kind of like a bouncing puck right there.
I guess you're right. Remember, DeJesus reached on an error to start the first inning yesterday. It was Viciedo and left, and then the Cubs would eventually turn that into a run. Ball 1 on Castro.
The Cubs have outscored the Sox in this series 16-3. They've out hit them 20-11. The Cubs have played errorless baseball. That's the 3rd error. Well, errorless prior to the catcher's interference on Castillo. That's the 3rd error on the Sox in this series. Been some shaky play in the outfield.
Cubs have also outscored their opponents by 1 run on the season, even though they're 9 under 500.
Well, this would be about a 500 club if you believe the math, and if they continue to outpace their opponent, they ultimately will. That's if they continue to outpace their opponent.
One and one on the Cubs shortstop. Big hole on the right side with Konerko holding on to Jesus. Fouled back. Certainly White Sox fans know this well about Jake Peavy. Cub fans have seen him pitch a fair amount with the Sox and the Padres, but he'll yell at himself a lot during a start. Much of it is not G-rated, but he is rather intense on the mound.
So depending on your tolerance for blue language, if he gives up a 3-run jack, you might want to look away.
Right. Long pause before the 1-2, and he struck him out on a breaking ball.
For years, that slider has been his signature pitch, and Castro, throughout his time in the big leagues, has shown a willingness to go out of the zone to try to get that ball.
Pitch to Anthony Rizzo on the outside corner.
Fagan's going to have a big zone here this afternoon. I don't think Clint's a full-time guy, isn't he? One of the fill-ins?
Minor league umpire. Filling in the series. Strike. But he's a big leaguer today.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him prior to this series. I don't know how much experience he has.
I think he's worked a few Cub games in the past.
Because you're always reaching for those Steely Dan references?
I just remember the name, yes.
Back. See Peavy. This year there's been one stolen base, 3 caught with Peavy on the mound.
So the conditions today and the fact that these two pitchers generally control the running game would seem to suggest what you said, that they should not be terribly aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, you may see certain counts where you could play a little hit and run or something like that, but in terms of the straight steal, at least early on, you know, sometimes you come into a game thinking it's going to play a certain way, and then maybe a guy's so dominant, regardless of the conditions, you think, okay, we got to find a way to manufacture a run. Peavy throughout his career has been more of a fly ball type pitcher than a ground ball pitcher. Taking a shot at the inside corner, doesn't get it. He's allowed 8 long balls so far this year.
Rizzo whiffs. Back-to-back Ks for Peavy after the Konerko error, and now he'll face Soriano with 2 outs.
Talked about all the tools in his toolbox, and we've already seen it. Slider, backdoor slider, heaters up and down. Now the changeup. Catches Rizzo way out in front.
Peavy has hit double digits in strikeouts 32 times in his career. Pitch to Soriano is right down the middle for a strike.
05, 06, 07 with the Padres. All 3 of those years he threw more than 200 innings and punched out more than 200 batters. 240 strikeouts in 2007. I'm guessing that was his Cy Young year. Won 19 games, lost 6.
Yep. Konerko will get another chance, and he makes a catch to end the inning. And there are no runs. We're scoreless after an inning. Sweet home Chicago. We've been here all week. Started on the road on the south side, now 8 miles north of there at Wrigley Field. And Cubs looking for their 3rd straight win over the White Sox and their 4th straight overall, which would be a new season high in terms of a winning streak. 1 ball, no strikes on Connor Gillespie.
And we win meat if that happens.
That's right.
Hawk and Stoney will have to buy us a sausage dog.
Ground ball to the shortstop Castro. And fire to Rizzo in time. 1 away, and it'll bring up Jeff Keppinger. So Gillespie at 3rd. Keppinger at 2nd. Gordon Beckham is out. He's on the disabled list. Fractured hamate bone in his left wrist. Had surgery in April. Not sure when he'll be back. Possibly sometime early in June. Robin Ventura, talking to reporters today, said Gillespie's still going to play when Beckham comes back. We'll have to find room for the rookie. Came into today at 291.
Well, if Jeff Keppinger's job is in jeopardy upon the return of Beckham, he's putting up a pretty noble fight here recently. Keppinger's overall numbers are not good at all. But, much better lately. A 3-hit game yesterday. He's always been good against lefties in his career.
I just think with the way their offense has struggled, Scherholtz will get Keppinger. Can't take one of your better hitters out of the lineup. But things change as time moves on, so we'll see in a couple of weeks. Notice Robin not making headlines like his predecessor used to when coming to Wrigley Field. Ozzie liked to stir it up.
Oh, sure he did.
That is not Robin's MO.
No, Ozzie, you know, the old line about Manny being Manny, that was just Ozzie being Ozzie. And this is Robin being Robin. And you wouldn't want it any other way. You got to be true to yourself. That's just the way those guys are made.
Two-time All-Star, won 6 Gold Gloves over at third. Was hired without any previous pro coaching or managing experience. He was in the White Sox organization as an advisor in the player development department. Flowers ends up with a base hit. I don't know if that cued on Valbuena a little bit because the bat was splintered, but Valbuena got fooled.
Yeah, here's that ball sliced back the other way on him. He looked like a soccer goalie on a penalty kick where you have to anticipate which direction it's going. He goes one way, the ball goes the other. Whoop. Typically a busy day for the third baseman when Travis Wood is on the mound. Peavy can swing it.
That's a good matchup of athletes on the mound today. Wood and Peavy field their position well. They both like to swing the bat. Peavy has talked about how much he likes pitching for the White Sox. Probably could have made some more money in the offseason, but decided to come back. But I'm sure he misses hitting in the National League.
Yeah, I would think he's one of those guys who likes to play the whole game.
And he's going to line out to Barney. Good contact, but makes the out. They get a hit. Still no runs for either team. Fans, make sure you check out Len and JD's baseball blog at WGNTV.com. It's sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your nationwide insurance agent, serving the area for 34 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your site. I have a post on Dioner Navarro's amazing performance yesterday. We also have interviews from this series as well. So a lot of Twitter reaction to Navarro not being in the lineup. We talked about it yesterday. There are a few things to consider as Nate Scherholtz will start the Cubs second. Number one, Wellington Castillo is the Cubs' #1 catcher, and it's very rare a manager would sit his #1 catcher for more than a day at a time. And that's a strike. Castillo did homer in a game that didn't count Tuesday night.
All right, so if you follow the argument that Navarro should be in there today, you might conclude that Castillo should have been in there yesterday.
Right.
Yesterday never would have happened for Navarro, and it would just be a complete mess. I mean, I get the argument. The guy had a 3-home run day, but I'm just not sure there's any evidence to suggest the hot hand theory in baseball from one day to the next. Because we see it all the time. A guy is 4 for 4 one day and 0 for 4 the next.
Yeah, I would be curious to see all the 6-hit performances in the history of baseball and what those guys did the day after. I don't know the answer, but I'm guessing they didn't all have 4 or 5 hits.
Now there's a chance that if DeHonor were in there today, he might work a couple of walks. Because the way he was swinging it yesterday, he might not challenge him. I've seen a lot of lefties recently, and Scherholtz has not had a lot of playing time. So for him to get back into the groove.
Well, that's the other part of this equation, isn't it? You know, let's say Scott Hairston had 3 good games against left-handed starters, but you want to get Scherholtz back in the lineup. You know, one of the jobs a manager has is to continue to think about that big picture. Swing and a miss. That's a 3rd strikeout. All ready for Peavy, and time now for Xfinity Home from Comcast. You see 3 homer performances by Cubs. 24 of them have been here, 14 on the road. Navarro, the first player to homer 3 times in a game in this particular crosstown rivalry. The last nationally catcher to do it in a game was Mike Lieberthal of the Phillies in '02. Castillo pops one up behind the plate. Flowers is going to have room. Get peace of mind with Xfinity Home, the total home security and home control solution that keeps you more connected to what matters most.
So you were telling me yesterday, I guess it was, about the Crosstown Cup, that there actually is a trophy.
There is.
And so is there an MVP for this series? Do they give that out?
I don't think there's an official MVP. I'm sure one of, maybe Phil Rogers,
plaque,
one of the national baseball writers here, will
create a team,
pick one.
An all cross town team. Maybe a plaque shaped like a deep dish pizza for the winner of the MVP award. Or maybe just a pizza itself.
I mean, I'd rather have a pizza than a plaque depicting a pizza.
I think that would be some sponsors that should jump on board in the future.
1-1 on Valbuena.
He's been pretty quiet so far, not doing a lot of chatting out there to himself.
One drifted out of the zone outside.
Of course, he's only allowed 1 base runner, and that was on a soft ground ball to first base. You better be ready to hit when you settle into that batter's box against Peavy, because by the time the hitter looks up, he's in his windup.
Jake yelling at himself
there you go.
a little bit. Yep. The 3-2 is lined out into the alley. Going to get to the wall. And a 2-out double for Valbuena.
Well, that's a great look. You see all the pitches on the edge, one down and in, everything off the outside edge until that one over the heart of the plate. And we talk a lot about Valbuena being one of the really discerning hitters in the Cub lineup, a guy who's not inclined to chase. And when you do that, you get rewarded. You work deeper counts, better chance of getting a mistake out over the plate, and then you take advantage.
There's a struggling Darwin Barney. This one looked like he was getting out of his early season slump. He's gone 3 for his last 26. Average right now 202. That'll work. Cubs lead 1-0. Barney trying to get 2. Nope, he's going to stop halfway and head back to first. Well, once again, they score the first run against the White Sox.
It comes with 2 outs and nobody on at the bottom of the order. Valbuena with a solid at bat, the 2-out double. Then Peavy makes a mistake here as his breaking ball backs up on him, drifts up and into Barney, and he whacks it to left. Valbuena could downshift and cruise home. And Barney drops anchor and settles at first.
Outside corner on Travis Wood.
Peavy from Alabama. Travis Woods from Arkansas.
Base hit in the left. Barney will advance a base. Cubs pitchers continue to hit. Peavy was born in Mobile, Alabama, same hometown as Hank Aaron, but says his number 44 jersey is a coincidence. Grew up in nearby Sims. One of his closest friends is Roy Oswalt, off-season hunting and fishing partner. Three straight 2-out hits. Jesus makes it 4. Barney comes around to score. 2-0.
How about that for a 2-out rally?
Doing it the hard way.
Punch out a pop-up to the catcher and then double, single, single, single. This one down, but out over the plate. Jesus, first pitch swinging. Peavy's really going to be talking to himself. He's hoping Keppinger could at least knock that ball down and stop that run from coming home. Keppinger does not have good range out there at second base.
Travis will pretend we didn't see a trip in the background. Those darn bases get in the way sometimes. Here's Castro. Called strike.
A little extra on that heater. Let's see Travis Wood taking the turn. He still has his long program to skate. He'll be okay. Can overcome that.
1-1.
Be over in the kiss and cry area later on. Throw him teddy bears.
Owen Barney talking it over with his hitting coach James Rowson. Castro lifts to right. Easy play, Alex Rios. After 2 are out, the Cubs come up with 4 hits and 2 runs. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. Cubs with another early lead against the White Sox. And how about this? The Cubs have won 3 in a row, and each victory has come at a different ballpark. Beat the Reds Sunday at Great American Ballpark. The White Sox Monday night at U.S. Cellular Field, and then yesterday here at Wrigley. The last time the Cubs had such a winning streak was in 1946. Bob Waterman of the Elias Sports Bureau found this interesting streak. Cubs won at Wrigley Field, Shibe Park in Philadelphia, the Polo Grounds against the Giants, and Braves Field in Boston.
So 4 different parks in 4 days?
It looks to me like there had to be some rainouts.
Yeah.
It was in May, the 12th, the 15th, the 18th, the 19th. Second time through for Travis Wood. He walked De Aza to start the game.
Command was a little wobbly in the first inning. He had to throw a lot of pitches to get through that first, but bottom line is he posted a 0. And he's got a chance to settle in. He's got a little lead to work with.
Two hit foul. Would beat the White Sox on the South Side last June 19th.
Happy birthday.
Number 4. Cub game number 1. Wind and the pitch. Oza laid off, 3-2.
That's proven to be a tough out here today, working the walk first time up. He is their most patient hitter. He doesn't draw a lot of walks, but he typically sees a lot of pitches.
Ooh, that looked like a good one. Didn't get it on the cutter. So De Aza's walked both times.
Had been working him mostly away. Now he takes a shot at the inside corner with a cut fastball, and probably could have gotten that one. Cub fans, if you want to manage the game along with Dale Swaim, log on to WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
So we had a graphic in the open as Ramirez steps in. Up the middle on a bounce, and it took again a squirrely hop. Got a couple of weird bounces here today. The Konerko error earlier. This cue shot will end up being a single. You had the ball Flowers hit that got past Valbuena in the second.
Ramirez, first of all, had no business swinging at that pitch, and then figured he'd swing and miss or pop it up. This ball way up, right in on his hands. I think it hit the corner of the base. I don't know. Just either the corner of the base or just some funky English causing that ball to kick back the other way. If that's got spin going to the right and then it hits, it's going to kick the other way.
So 2 on, no outs for Rios. Part of the order coming up. So the graphic we had was that Wood basically has dominated the top of the lineup. And the hits he's given up generally toward the bottom of the order. And Your answer was basically, they're the numbers. I wish I could explain it, but I can't.
Okay.
And I'm not going to ask you to explain it.
I can show you the what. I just can't tell you the why.
Right.
I think it's random. Here's what we were talking about. You see the batting average against him for various spots in the batting order, and the 7 and 8 hole hitters have had the most success in terms of batting average. We'll have to go dig a little deeper to see walks and home runs and things of that nature, but it is interesting. And pitchers and pinch hitters in that 9 hole hitting .263.
So then you look at, okay, why has he been better than he's been in his entire career here over his first 10 starts? The batting average against is under 200. There's a double play ball. Valbuena, Barney, Rizzo, 5-4-3, 2 down.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that typically a busy day for the third baseman when Wood's on the mound. Cutter moving in on Rios. He tries to clear the front side, bangs it on the ground, and the infielders do the rest.
Wood is getting more ground balls this year than ever before. And then you have the batting average on balls in play, which is lower than it's ever been in his career. .214 coming in. Foul past third.
The league average is right around 300. And a lot of the sabermeticians, you know, say, well, there's a fair bit of luck involved in that, because once the ball's in play, you know, you're at the mercy of your defense. You know, soft hits fall in and things of that nature. So you could expect a little regression to the mean for Wood. But the other part of it too is a lot of weak infield pop-ups. So I think that batting average on balls in play is partially luck, but not always luck.
Nichols hit 2 balls hard, but both times foul. He's given up 13 extra base hits, so he's limiting the other team's slugging percentage. That's something his manager talks a lot about.
Hard in on Konerko. That's been his MO against most of the right-handed hitters.
Blocked by Castillo at De Aza at third. I think statistically, JD, the biggest area of concern for Wood looking ahead is that his strikeout rate is down a little bit and his walk rate's about the same. So, you know, if those things had changed a lot, you might look at it a little differently. As Konerko puts the White Sox on the board, it's 2-1. A 2-out RBI single.
Right, because, you know, year in and year out, when you look at the averages, typically the best pitchers in baseball are the guys that strike out a lot, don't walk many, and don't give up home runs. Because, again, there's an element of randomness in the rest of it.
He has kept it in the park. That's one thing he has done. And today is certainly not an easy day to do that. With a wind blowing straight out 24 miles an hour as we got started. Viciedo, a swinging strike.
What I find interesting is the inability for the hitters to make an adjustment against Travis. With all the cutters he throws, you really don't see hitters making any real changes to try to handle that pitch. You know, he does have a good changeup. When he was coming up through the Reds organization, his changeup maybe was his best tool. And he does throw it, but doesn't throw a ton of them.
Swing and a miss to end the inning. A walk and a couple of hits, and the White Sox are on the board. It's 2-1 Cubs in the third. With Baseball League of the Game, we recognize Mike Anderson Chevrolet for its support of Portage Park Baseball. Mike Anderson Chevrolet and your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana dealers are supporting over 30,000 young ball players in their communities through the Chevy Youth Baseball program. Since 2010, the Chicago area's Chevy dealers is Rizzo, 1 hops, 1-2 Keppinger for the out. Since 2010, the Chicago area Chevy dealers have been providing these local youth baseball leagues equipment kits, instructional clinics, and much needed financial support. So from the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of baseball. Called strike. And Soriano.
Would expect Soriano has seen more of Peavy than anybody. Coming into play today, he was 9 out of 29, 3 doubles, 3 home runs. Very good numbers against Peavy. 310 batting average, 412 on base, 724 slugging average.
Fly ball to center. De Aza, and that wind's going to push everything a little bit deeper than normal. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN.
Because you can never watch just one. Saturdays are all about Law and Order. 8 full hours of crime, mystery, and this sound. Saturdays starting at 11 a.m. on WGN America.
Four pitches. We get the first 2 outs for Peavy. Side on Nate Sherholtz. Another early game today. Texas pounding the Diamondbacks 6-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Brandon McCarthy had an early exit, 2 2/3, 6 runs on 9 hits. They got rained out last night. So kind of a weird week for the Diamondbacks, who come here tomorrow afternoon. Day-night doubleheader, and they swept the Rangers Monday. Scheduled off day yesterday, or 2 days ago. Rained out yesterday. So it has messed a little bit with their pitching schedule.
So they had a scheduled doubleheader on Monday?
Yeah, day-nighter in Phoenix. With the off day Tuesday. How many teams have off days on Tuesdays?
And that was just for Memorial Day? I think the Rockies did that last year, scheduled a doubleheader on Memorial Day. Used to be the tradition in baseball, holiday doubleheaders. Memorial Day, July 4th. Maybe even Labor Day, I don't remember.
We had the first Tuesday off after opening day in Pittsburgh, but once you get into the heart of the schedule, usually Mondays and Thursdays are your off days. And the Cubs will have one next Monday and next Thursday.
Two outs, nobody on when all the noise started for the Cubs last inning.
Golfed to right. Caught by Rios. Peavy works his first 1-2-3. It's 2-1 Cubs after 3.
Stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Captain Morgan. Raise your glass, always in moderation, to life, love, and loot. And the great Billy Williams will be with us.
Talk to him about hitting on days like this at Wrigley Field. Strike on Connor Gillespie.
Really, so far the wind hasn't influenced too much here today. The Soriano fly ball carried a little further than we anticipated, maybe off the bat.
Gillespie's been okay defensively over third. As he swings and misses. Third strikeout for Travis Wood. There's Keppinger. He flied to right his first time up. Keppinger played shortstop in college, went to the University of Georgia. Fourth-round pick of the Pirates in 01. As Scherholtz is drifting over into right center to hunt it down. 2 away. Flowers with 2 outs. We have watched the ivy slowly grow into full bloom here in the month of May. It has not come as quickly as it did last year. We had a very warm winter and spring last year. Not so much this April.
You found a watermelon or something in there. There's that backdoor cutter you're talking about.
1-2.
Flowers not happy with the call. Somewhat understandably. Would rewarded for hitting his spot there. Try to bury one on the back foot.
He went. Castillo, as all catchers are taught, tag first and ask later. Come watch the Cubs as they battle the Diamondbacks tomorrow, May 31st, here at Wrigley Field. Game time 1:20, but get here early. The first 10,000 fans receive a Kerrywood Gnome compliments of Bank of America. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Another good outing for Travis Wood, leading 2-1. Home run swing by Castillo, and he missed it.
Trying to get that one back. He lost with the rain out the other night. Get something elevated in this wind. He's sitting on one long ball. Got it elevated. Look at that thing blow.
That might drop. It does. How about that?
Oh, that was fun.
A base hit for Castillo.
This was funky. See the angle of pursuit. And Peavy and Konerko, and everybody's coming in, and then no, that ain't gonna happen. Gillespie wasn't even looking up in the air.
No. He was the closest to it, but had no shot. The Sox are going to have to recalibrate on those infield pop-ups today. Ball one.
Well, and that kind of ball with that backspin is going to work its way back towards the field of play anyway. Then you couple that with the way the wind is blowing, and you can understand why there was so much movement. That was crazy.
Deep to right. Rios plays it off the wall. Castillo to third. It's a long single for Valbuena. Cubs in business. First and third, nobody out.
So an infield pop-up for a single, and then one off the right field wall for a single.
They both count the same.
Yeah, and Valbuena thought he had a home run. He got caught watching that one a little bit. As sharply as that was hit, as quickly as it got out there, it's not a guaranteed double, but he really didn't give himself a chance with the way he went down the line.
Sox want a shot at a double play to try to limit the inning, but instead Peavy drills Barney, and they're loaded.
He just didn't finish that pitch. I think he's trying to throw him a slider or a cut fastball away. And he dropped his arm a little bit and never really finished that pitch. Big opportunity here to bust this thing wide open.
Heap of trouble for Peavy. So we've had guys reach on errors, walks, hits, catcher's interference, hit by pitch. And it's Travis Wood taking ball one. Cornerman in again, double play depth up the middle. Outfielders not deep at all, particularly De in center.
A bit of a gamble. Wood handles the bat well, the way that wind is blowing.
2-0. Cubs have one 3-run homer. That was Navarro in the 7th yesterday. They have not yet hit a grand slam. That's a strike. So their first 53 homers of the season were either solos or 2-run shots.
Not enough traffic.
Fly ball well hit to left. It is gone. A granny. Travis Wood with his second homer of the year.
It has been a running theme all year long. The Cubs pitchers and what they've been able to do in the batter's box. It continues here in a big way with Travis Wood hitting a grand slam off Jake Peavy. And again, a hanging backdoor slider.
Bottom of the order has come up big today, and Cubs pitchers now have knocked in 19 runs this month. Oh, and 2 on DeJesus. Keith Moreland from the Cubs radio team. He called days like this when he played back leg days. Lean back, try to get a little lift, put it in the air.
Yeah, just lean back and swing hard.
Ground ball up the middle. It'll be played by Ramirez for the first out. Last Cub pitcher to hit a grand slam was Jason Marquis in 2008 in New York.
Well, if you're worried about your run support, there's one way to take care of it.
Well, the wind now, just for good measure, is blowing out even harder. And when you look at those flags, you say 6 runs, that's great. How about 10 today? Just in case.
It's days like this where this ballpark has earned its reputation. It's really not deserved because there are many, many days where it plays pitcher friendly.
It's a foul ball.
When the wind is blowing out like this, you get those 15-14 games, and those grab all the headlines.
I think generally over the long haul, this does play as a good run scoring park. But when the wind blows in, it's not a good home run park, as you mentioned. And yeah, it is raining. The sun is out, but it is drizzling here. Got to get through 5 today. Cubs were unable to do that Tuesday night. On the right field line, Konerko out, and he makes a nice catch and foul ground.
The 29th annual Cubs convention will take place at the Sheraton Chicago Hotel and Towers on January 17th, 18th, and 19th, 2014. Beginning this Tuesday, June 4th, rooms can be reserved by visiting Cubs.com/convention or by calling the Sheraton at 1-800-325-3535 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Mention Len Casper's name, you get an additional 20% off. No, I just made that up. All reservations at the Sheraton Chicago come with convention passes built into the room package. Come and see us in January.
I wish I had that power.
Yes, can I have the Casper rate, please? The Casper suite.
Rizzo
here.
And Viciedo ends up leaving his feet. Rizzo around second, on his way to third. Throw there. Not in time. It's a triple.
Well, Jake Peavy has not been particularly good in this inning, but he's had no luck either. Go back to the way it started, the pop-up by Castillo on the infield that fell for a base hit. Now this ball butchered in the outfield by Viciedo, and by my counting, that's the 3rd misplay out there by the Sox in this series. And you see the wind obviously a factor, but that ball still should be caught. Get out of here.
Still going back and caught by Teaza.
How does that stay in the ballpark?
Travis Wood with a grand slam, the first for the Cubs this season. It is 6-1 Northsiders. What a year for Travis Wood on the mound and at the plate. He's now hitting .304. He is slugging .609, and he has an earned run average of .270. Casper Wells batting for Jake Peavy, done after 4 innings. Peavy got a complete game win his last start.
Peavy had been on a real nice roll. 5-1 with a 237 in his previous 7 starts.
Shortest start of the season for Peavy.
A lot of times that's what happens. You get on a roll, you pitch deep into the games, the pitch count starts to climb, and you're just not quite as fresh when you go out there. It was 117 pitches in each of his last 2 starts.
There's Nate Jones getting loose in the White Sox pen. Swing and a miss. It's full 3-2.
Wells came off the bench yesterday, had a knock.
Got him on the inside edge.
Fifth strikeout on the afternoon for Wood. First 4 were swinging. This time Wells takes that cut fastball that clips the inside corner.
More info for you. The grand slam by Wood, the first such home run by a Cubs pitcher at Wrigley Field since Bert Hooton, September 15th, 1972, against the Mets. Two and one on Deaza.
That was September 16th of 1972.
Yes.
It's off Tom Seaver. Hooton hit 4 home runs in his career, 1 off Seaver, 1 off Nolan Ryan.
Wow.
Jose Sosa and Rod Scurry, the other one. And Rod Scurry was flat out nasty. Didn't have a great career. He had a tremendous curveball.
Swing and a miss. Fastball at 93. Wood now missing a lot of bats.
Got a little grand slam adrenaline working.
Let's take a gander at the Cubs' Ford upcoming schedule. We mentioned the Diamondbacks are in town. Day game tomorrow, night game on Saturday, and then we'll have game 3 to finish the homestand Sunday at 1 here on WGN. Ford, go further in any one of Ford's many fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. It'll be Stat Sunday. Weighted on base average is our topic. Scores Dan Bernstein will pin our guest blog column on WGNTV.com. Ramirez, I don't think he broke his bat. I think he just let it fly behind the Cubs dugout as he pops out to end the inning. Wood cruising, leading 6-1. Nate Jones has been a busy man in this series. This is his 3rd appearance.
Robin Ventura, Don Cooper trying to rehab Jones here, not physically, but just get him back on track. Got a great arm. Very good for them last year so far. Has been a a bumpy ride for him. He used more in these roles. Middle innings, a fairly one-sided game until he gets back on track.
The Cubs essentially avoided Chris Sale, the game that was rained out, and they were actually leading that game in the 3rd inning. Got a makeup game at some point in the near future. They knocked around Jake Peavy today. Ended up on Jose Quintana Monday night. Scored 4 off John Danks in 4 innings yesterday. Cubs staff's been excellent. Those are the 3 guys we've seen in the series. Samardzija with the best start of his career Monday night. Scott Feldman got the win yesterday, his 5th.
Cubs inflicting this damage against the White Sox staff that has the 4th best ERA in the American League. And they've been really good.
Nate Sherholtz deep to right. It will go. Ended up bouncing back onto the field. Looked like it hit a step out there. It's 7-1. (23-4) now. The Cubs have outscored the White Sox
in these 2+ games. Number 6 for Sherholtz. Look at all the pitches over the heart of the plate by Jones. He throws hard, but catching too much of the plate, and he pays a price.
Ball strike on Castillo. Everything changed on Sunday. The Cubs were down 4-0 in Cincinnati. They would come back and win. And the Castillo 10th inning RBI double. And their offense has been completely different since. Lots of crooked numbers.
And 9 hits today. It's kind of been the norm lately. 9-10 hits per ball game. Very impressive.
Lined over Keppinger into right center. 2 hits for Castillo.
Take that, all you people that were second guessing Dale Swain for playing Castillo today. He's 2 for 2. A rocket to right. And the deceptive pop-up on the infield. Still may be the highlight of the day, despite the grand slam and Sherholtz home run.
Infield pop-up single. Jones will lob over to Konerko. Okay, so explain that as a pitcher. Okay, you're down 7-1. You've got a catcher at first base running. Why would you throw to first?
It's a great question.
Kind of alluded to Nate Jones the other day. He throws extremely hard. Fastball averages about 97 miles an hour, but it looks like hitters get a fairly good look at him.
Yeah, I need to talk to some of the Cub hitters and see if they agree. The way he takes the ball out of his glove and then pulls it up high like shooting a bow and arrow.
Our slider at 86, and Valbuena couldn't hold up.
Almagrosso's a little bit like this too. It's a low set, but then he takes it up high and gives you a pretty good long look at it. Great stuff, though. He hits his spots, he'll be fine.
Didn't hit his spot that time. It's a wild pitch sending Castillo to second.
You know, you're asking me about Jones going over there to first base, and maybe he just, you know, just did it because, or maybe it was called from the bench. So much of the running game now is controlled by the bench. Pickoffs, pitch outs, throwing over, things of that nature typically comes from the dugout. And maybe because of the conditions, even though it is a 7-1 game, Robin Ventura feels like, hey, anything could happen. We might score 10 runs ourselves today, so let's play it like it's a tighter game.
In the air to center. De Aza will get behind the ball. Castillo not tagging as he's back at second. One out.
Nate Scherholtz, he's looking at some numbers on him. That home run today, his 6th. He hit 6 all of last year. Had 241 at-bats with the Giants and the Phillies. His best single season was 2011. He hit 9 home runs, 335 at-bats, so he's well ahead of that pace.
Another one gets away from Flowers. And he's going to get Castillo, who went head first and tumbled across third.
Well, not a bad try there by Wellington to get to third base with just 1 out, but a nice play by Flowers. Look how far this ball is outside. It kicks back off his chest protector, and unfortunately for Castillo, does not get that far away from Flowers. He would have been safe had he been able to maintain contact with the base. There's a whole lot of Wellington with a whole lot of momentum, and he couldn't hang on. He's having a day of it. Whacked in the hand with the catcher's interference. Had the funky pop-up.
It's a new dance step. Kids love it. The funky pop-up.
Funky pop-up.
Barney just missed an infield hit there. Scherholtz with a leadoff homer. It's 7-1 Cubs. Time for our Honda game summary. It's the Travis Wood Show, starring Travis Wood. Been very good on the mound once again. And his first career grand slam, his second homer of the season. He's 2 for 2 with 4 RBIs. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, as reliable as the cars themselves. And now here's Travis.
I went to the restroom between innings, and he was in there handing out towels and mints. Well, that music brings back memories.
Yes, it does.
When I used to watch The Tonight Show.
Pitch to Alex Rios.
They use the same theme music now?
I don't think they do.
I can't stay awake long anymore.
Two 2-0. Konerko and then Viciedo.
Figured I'd throw that in there before I got hate mail from Jay Leno fans.
Fouled off. 2-1.
Kansas City Royals have a new hitting coach. You may have heard of him. His name is George Brett.
Yeah, I see that on an interim basis.
Well, things are a mess there in Kansas City. They've lost 8 in a row. I believe they've lost their last 11 home games, 10 home games.
Cranked out into the alley in left center. Rios will glide into second with a double.
Boy, you said it, glide. He is a smooth athlete. Kind of a Carlos Beltran type.
Yeah. So Jack Maloof is out. So is his assistant hitting coach Andre David. They've been reassigned to the minor leagues. Royals haven't gotten past 3 runs in their last 6 games.
Well, last year they fired Kevin Seitzer as their hitting coach because they weren't hitting enough home runs.
Look, I have total respect for all hitting coaches in baseball, especially James Rouse and Rob Deere do a great job here with the Cubs staff, but I just don't know, unless George Brett can get in their lineup, how significant an improvement they'll have as Konerko knocks in his second run of the day and makes it 7-2, back-to-back doubles to start the 6th.
The Sox showing a little life here, and as we mentioned, on a day like today, you can never feel too comfortable unless you're out in front by double digits. Yeah, I'm with you. And this is a trend that's, I don't know, the last decade or so. Used to be coaches never got fired in season. Managers did. And now managers make more money. Clubs feel like they have to make a move to appease either the local media or the local fan base. So coaches kind of become the scapegoats. And I'm not saying coaches don't ever deserve to be fired, but for me, if I'm going to fire a hitting coach or a pitching coach, it's going to be because personality issues, they're not working hard enough. It's not going to be tied to the performance of my players.
Well, it's the nature versus nurture question when it comes to plate discipline, patience, all those things we talk about that make great hitters great. And I think there's only so much at this level hitting coaches can accomplish with big league players. Fly ball to left. Soriano back to the warning track, but he's going to have room to get Viciedo for the out.
Yeah, and I think, some are better than others. Some guys have, maybe a philosophy that fits your organization better or things of that nature. But, if you hired the guy to begin with, stick with him at least until the off season.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It just feels like sometimes it's just do something to do something. And
hire a franchise icon, a legend, a guy who's a great hitter, Hall of Famer.
And Gillespie lines right to DeJesus, a former Kansas City Royal. The other part of this equation, I don't think George has any sights on managing, but does that create an interesting dynamic with the media and how the team is covered now? You've got the manager Ned Yost. Are people going to be going to George to ask him about the team as opposed to the hitters?
Yeah, or
it could get a little tricky.
Robin Ventura and Mark Burney, Parent, his faithful assistant,
former Cub, Parent.
Nice career, primarily a backup catcher with a little power.
That's 13 seasons.
Brad has had plenty of opportunities to coach and manage in the past. Seems like he'd be a good manager.
Well, the other part of making any move, whether it's to bring a big name in or not, is you do tell the players, we believe we're at a critical stage where something has to change. They say you can't fire the players, so it's easier to fire a coach, as Castro will get Keppinger, but I'm sure that opened the eyes of all the Royals position players. Sox get a run, 7-2. Well, whatever happens, we are official. As we check out our AT&T Uvers replay, Travis Wood will lead off the 6th. Came up with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 4th. Bang, a grand slam.
I love the reaction from his battery mate, Wellington Castillo.
Find out what's possible with products and services from AT&T Rethink Possible. Jones still in there, and a breaking ball is up and away.
Tell you what, pretty good whack at that 95-mile-an-hour heater right there.
One and two the count.
Travis reminds me of a guy we had in Houston for a good while, Mike Hampton. Lefty, threw a lot of cutters. Outstanding athlete, could really swing it.
Excellent defensively too. Are the Rockies still paying him?
They may be. I don't know.
Well, Bobby Bonilla is going to be paid by the Mets for the next couple of decades. Shallow center. And this one will be run down by De Aza. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN.
Every Sunday, the movies you love are on WGN America. More comedies, more action, and of course, more explosions. Every Sunday on WGN America.
Seven to 2 Cubs. They've already beaten the White Sox this week, 7-0 and 9-3.
Cubs will have one more game play to make up from Tuesday's rainout that has not yet been scheduled.
Comes a 2-0. But hard on a hop, knocked down by Konerko. He'll take it to the bag by himself.
Rangers continue to lead big over the Diamondbacks, 9-3. They're in the 7th in Arlington. Murphy and Moreland have gone deep for the Rangers. Numbers 7 and 11 respectively.
Mentioned the rainout yesterday, so their change in the rotation means the Cubs will face Wade Miley, a left-hander, not right-hander Trevor Cahill. Look at Kennedy and Corbin as well. They would have faced those guys either way. And Edwin Jackson's luck continues. We've talked about all the guys he's had to face this year. Well, because of the Diamondbacks rainout, he now has to face Corbin, who's 8-0 with a 171. That'll be on Sunday here on WGN. Ground ball to Alexei Ramirez. Quiet 6 for the Cubs. A Hall of Famer coming to the booth when we come back. Billy Williams, 7-2 Cubs. Cubs baseball brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. The Stones with Hitchhiker. They're in town this week at the United Center. James Russell is in facing Tyler Flowers, and Hall of Famer Billy Williams getting ready for the 7th inning stretch. Well, you were grabbing a uniform and a bat when you saw the flags blowing out today, Billy.
Oh, yeah. I was just on radio a few minutes ago, and when I was coming to the ballpark and it's kind of windy and stuff, I saw the flag blowing around, and I said, it's going to be some home runs hit today. And that's what happened. You know, Wood got into one and hit the ball real good.
So when it's high, let it fly.
That's right.
When it's low, let it go.
Well, it's a tough ballpark. A lot of people say Wrigley Field is a small ballpark. But when that wind blowing in, you know, as a left-handed hitter, it seemed like it's always coming off the lake. And the left-handed hitters really hurt through the years. I remember Bobby Mercer, when he came to Chicago, he was in a trade for Bill Madlock, I think. Bill Madlock went to the Giants, and we got Bobby Mercer to the Cubs. And all of a sudden, Mercer came here, and I think he hit 17, 18 home runs that particular year. And we had the convention during the winter, and Bobby Mercer said, I thought the wind blew out all the time. I say, since Ernie and I retired, the wind blowing in. But it's a ballpark that it could be fair at times. But like today, you know, the pitcher got to keep the ball down. And, of course, my friend Fergie loved to pitch on a day like today. You know, he had a real good slide. He'd throw the ball away, keep the ball away from the hitter.
And he liked to hit, too.
Yeah, he did. He did. Fergie was a good hitter. And I remember the first game he pitched in. You know, he came over as a relief pitcher. And I think he hit a home run that particular day. Leo said, well, we're not thinking about the hitting, but we're thinking about your pitching. You know, we're going to make you a starter next year.
Would have been a good fit on this staff, the way these guys swing it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The guys are really swinging. You know, the pitchers are knocking the runs in. But now we begin to get some big hits. You know, runners on base, you know, in scoring position. We're driving the ball. We're putting the ball in the gap. We're scoring some runs. Matter of fact, 2 out hits today. That started it off.
No question. You saw Zach Putnam just brought up from AAA Iowa. He's in the bullpen. It's 3-2 on the pinch hitter. Tyler Green, that's De Aza on deck.
Yeah, if you're a good sinker ball pitcher, it's a good day to pitch today. And,
goes flying.
Like a guy like Wilbur Wood. I always thought he would be a good pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. You know, you're throwing the ball into the wind, and that will make the ball dip, you know, although he didn't have the wind in his face.
I know Greg Maddux didn't mind the wind blowing out because it made his pitches move a little bit more.
Well, I think those people have been successful, you know, like Maddox and Fergie, and the good hitters that come in Wrigley Field. You don't look at the wind. You just think about it, but you got to keep your seam swing. You got to do what you do best. Keep the ball away from the hitters. You know, change up. Keep the hitter off balance. You know about that, J.D.
Yeah,
yeah.
My career ended on a day just like this. Right here in this ballpark.
Yeah. Good place to pitch was down the Astrodome. You never did pitch down there, did you?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't like hitting in there. Y'all had some tall pitchers, man. Pitchers about 6'5".
J.R.
Wilson. I didn't face J.R. I faced Don Wilson. And that was kind of a depth in center field, you know. You couldn't hardly see the ball out of the pitcher's hand.
Yeah, there were guys that would come in and just be more than willing to take a day or two off from hitting in the dome.
Oh, yeah.
Another 3-2 from Russell. That is
and there's
ball 4.
There's another thing on a day like today. You know, you can't walk. You can't walk nobody. And this was what Fergie had the advantage of a lot of pitchers. He didn't walk anybody. He gave up solo home runs, but he didn't walk people.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You just got to pitch away from the big inning. Don't put somebody on in case you do make a mistake and somebody pops one.
I remember when I was with the Oakland A's and Les Moss was there. You know, he was one of the coaches there. And playing in the Oakland Coliseum. It was a big ballpark, but he had all his pitchers, you know, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and nobody came in. Everybody pitched away.
How about Castillo's pop-up infield hit? you really, and I know you talk to Cubs outfielders all the time about checking that wind between every pitch. Today it's just blowing out, and that's going to get down for De Aza. Soriano will cut it off. De Aza on his way to second. They are going to get him by a mile. Wow, 7-2 down, and he took a risk, and it did not pay off.
Not even close at second base. What a play by Soriano to first cut the ball off and then gain control and make an accurate throw into second base.
A real good play by Soriano.
Yeah.
He made a tremendous play going in the corner yesterday. Saved a big run. And of course, you talk about the wind blowing in Chicago like it's blowing us straight out now. And you find that if a left-handed hitter is hitting and he fouled the ball down the left field line, the left fielder can't give up on it because the ball will crawl right back to center field. And if a right-handed hitter hit it to right field, it does the same thing. And this is what you talk to the outfielders about, you know, when you're in spring training. I put on the uniform out there, and, you know, I helped the outfield coach, Dave McCabe, been doing a tremendous job since he's been here. I was with him. He was one of the coaches when I was with Oakland A's, so I got the chance to know him real well. But it's a ballpark. You have to look at the flag all the time. Like it's blowing out now. The wind could change, and it could be blowing in.
Right. Zach Putnam's going to make his Cubs debut. Brought up today before the game.
We saw it here early. Remember early, maybe the first homestand, there was a game where the wind was blowing out all day. And then Cubs came up, and it was about the 7th or 8th inning. You could feel it turn around. It got real cool here in the booth. The wind all of a sudden was in our face, and somebody came up for the Cubs and popped one. Had it happened earlier, it probably would have been a game-winning home run, but the wind knocked it down.
Yeah. And I found that if you hit the ball, you know, to the right of 400, and if the wind's blowing in, I think the scoreboard, the ball is not effective as much because the scoreboard blocked it off. Right. I found that to be true. You learn a lot of things when you play here for 15 years.
Yes, some things you can't explain, too.
Yeah.
I remember David DeJesus last year in April, Billy, probably hit 5 home runs that didn't go because the wind was blowing in. And he got discouraged, but you got to tell yourself, keep doing that, right?
Yeah, you can't change nothing.
Right.
I've seen guys come in, and they say with the wind blowing in, you know, I'm going to try to hit the ball on the line. I had trouble just hitting the ball. If the wind blowing out, I'm going to try to lift the ball. And once you do that, you mess up your swing. And you just try to, as I say, go in, do what you do best. You got a nice stroke going, and you have to keep that going as a hitter.
Not sure what we have going on here. Robin Ventura talking with a couple of the umpires. He's got his lineup card with him. Just asking for an explanation or what?
Yeah, I'm wondering if Putnam was called up today and was just added to the roster, and I'm wondering if the lineup card that Robin was given before the game didn't have Putnam's name on it, maybe.
Well, at any rate, we will continue with 2 outs here in the 7th.
Well, I guess it's all right. Nobody said anything about protest.
Maybe just looking for some clarification.
Yeah. It's too bad. Ichikawa, you know, went on BL, huh?
Yeah, Kyuji, just first major arm trouble he's ever had.
Yeah. It's too bad because he was throwing the ball good in spring training. I thought we would help the organization pitch well up here. Matter of fact, he did when he got in the ball game. You know, he had a tremendous splitter.
Putnam also throws a splitter. Runner at third, 2 outs. And the pitch to Ramirez. There was the split going outside.
I tell you, Jamar's is rising as a great pitcher, huh? Yeah. I remember when he first came over here, he was just a thrower. I said many times, you know, he just grab the ball and throw the ball. But now he's beginning to pitch. You know, he's setting up hitters. He's throwing a good splitter. And he's pitching now.
2-0. Hit hard on the ground, but Valbuena will play it. And here comes Billy with the stretch.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Cubs Hall of Famer Billy Williams.
All right. Congratulations to the Chicago Blackhawks. John McDonough and Jay Bluck and the entire Hawk organization. You got 8 more to go. Let's go. Don't stop until you drink from the Stanley Cup. All right. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root for the. If they don't win, it's a shame. 4 is 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. As Harry would say, let's hold them.
Back here in the bottom of the 7th, the Cubs with a healthy 7-2 lead. Hard throwing right-hander Matt Lindstrom is on.
Yeah, he can rush that fastball up there into the high 90s.
Popped into right center, and it's going to be handled by De Aza.
Just for good measure, I looked it up. Billy talking about how difficult it was to hit in the Astrodome. He was a lifetime .295 hitter there. 5 points better than his career average.
Right. Well, how a guy feels and what the results are don't always match up. Off the inside corner.
With a couple fairly deep fly balls this afternoon, but 0 for 3.
Threatening skies here the last hour or so, but to this point we've dodged a bullet. A 3-0 pitch right down Main Street at 92. Ball 4, he walked him.
First walk issued by White Sox pitching here this afternoon. Peavy went 4, allowed 6 runs on 8 hits. Nate Jones 2 innings, 2 hits and a run. Now Lindstrom, third White Sox pitcher to work. As I mentioned, the White Sox pitching has been really good. Their starting staff has the best ERA in the American League. So Cub hitters getting it done here against some guys who've really been pitching well.
Carlos Marmol in the Cubs pen. Here's Scherholtz, who homered his last time up. That was off Nate Jones. Big leg kick. 95 to make it 1-2. So Billy Williams, when he signed his first minor league contract with the Cubs after graduating from high school in Alabama, made $150 a month, and his daily meal allowance was $2.25.
And that was where?
The Ponca City Cubs in the Class D Sooner State League. I would assume that's Oklahoma. Sooner State League.
I would go with that.
He played semi-pro ball in the summer because his high school did not have a baseball team. He was a really good football player. Passed up a scholarship to Grambling College. I think he made the right decision. One-two, bounced foul.
It's interesting. The times have changed, obviously, but Billy's generation through the 70s, 80s, even the 90s, for the most part, guys that played in the big leagues played a little bit of everything in high school. They played some football or basketball, usually multi-sports, and that still is the case for a lot of these guys. But so many kids now, it's kind of drummed into them early on to specialize, play one sport year-round, and I'm not so sure that that's a good thing.
Another foul. Another 1-2. Canerco will fire to second. Ramirez the relay late.
The Cubs Kids Club, presented by ComEd, the official kids club of the Chicago Cubs, is back here in 2013. Earn your pinstripes as a member of the Cubs Kids Club and receive kid-specific perks, experiences, and merchandise. Visit Cubs.com to sign up today and be a part of the fun all season long. Good swag there.
So Matt Lindstrom says he threw 90 to 92 when he was in high school, but he added velocity to his fastball after, as he told the Miami Herald, he got fat on all the bread and cheese he ate in Sweden while on his 2-year Mormon mission. And when he came back, the extra weight became muscle. You buying that?
Well, I'm buying that he added muscle. He's a big, strong guy. He may have added muscle, but I don't think that the bread and cheese really
added velocity.
Yeah.
Makes for a good story.
Yeah. Bread and cheese and gravy added velocity. I would have thrown 100.
The pastries didn't seem to work out too well for Aroldis Chapman in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Aroldis was delivered a box of 100 some kind of Cuban pastries by a Spanish radio guy in Philadelphia by the name of Ricky Ricardo, which is the best part of the story. And apparently Chapman ate like 18 of them on Sunday morning and then gave up back-to-back home runs on Sunday afternoon.
Sherholtz at first, 2 outs. Cubs leading 7-2 in the 7th. Good layoff on that one. 2-2.
Very good day for the guys at the bottom of the Cub order. We talked a couple days ago about Rizzo and Castro starting to get things turned around, Soriano as well. But obviously, if you're going to be a good offensive club, you have to get contributions up and down the lineup. And that's what we're seeing here the last couple of days. Most notably, Deoner Navarro hitting 3 home runs yesterday.
Gillespie will field. He'll take the short throw to Keppinger, and that will end the inning. Off to the 8th. All Cubs again, 7-2. Glenn and JD and our WGN Sports crew from Wrigley Field. The Cubs have a 7-2 lead. 4 of the 7 runs coming on a grand slam from Travis Wood. So here's Carlos Marmol in the 8th. Rios takes a strike.
Russell and Putnam cobbled together the 7th. Now Marmol gets the 8th. Travis Wood keeps going the way he's going. We're going to have a Travis Wood gnome day here at the ballpark.
Well, you coined Feldmania. You have to come up with something for Travis. Konerko and Viciedo also in this inning. White Sox head off to the West Coast after this series. Valbuena will throw. Rizzo receives. They'll be in Oakland tomorrow night. Right here on WGN, in fact. Konerko 2 for 3 has both White Sox RBIs.
Kyle Lohse pitches for the Brewers tonight in Minnesota, trying to beat his former team. If he does, he will join a select group of pitchers who have beaten all 30 major league teams. He would become the 13th guy to do that. Obviously, it hasn't always been 30 teams, so the pitchers that have done that are all fairly recent guys.
Leiter, Brown, Mulholland, Schilling, Williams, Moyer, big unit, Zito, Vasquez, Padilla, Lowe, and Burnett, A.J. Burnett. Well, Magrasso, we've seen him a lot in this series. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Lifted to right. Sherholtz moving to his left a few steps. 2 quiet outs for Marmol. Now Viciedo.
Marmol has been pretty good over the last couple of weeks, so he will be used in more meaningful situations now, especially with Fujikawa going down. Dale Swain's going to have to piece it together in his bullpen. Kevin Gregg, obviously the guy who's going to get the ball in the 9th with a lead, save situation, but expect to see Marmol out there in the 8th. hinting that Dolis may see some of those assignments as well.
Well, if he could harness his great stuff, Cubs have something there in Dolis. Big swing by Viciedo. He fouled back.
Yeah, and the thing about watching Dolis pitch, he throws so hard with such good sink. It's not like he's got to be crafty or set people up or try to fool them. He doesn't really have to have polished secondary pitches. Sure, it would help, but he could go to battle with that power sinker if he just threw it down around the knees with that good movement. He's going to be able to compete.
1-2 on the check swing. Marmol gets a sign from Castillo, and he throws, and it's full. Lights have been on for a while as we play now here in the 8th inning. Swing and a miss on the slider. Viciedo struck out 3 times in 4 tries. 7-2 Cubs.
I'm going to Chicago. That's the last place my baby stayed.
7-2 the Cubs lead. They'll bat here in the 8th. Right-hander Brian Omagrasso on for the White Sox. We've seen him a lot in this series. He and Jones have now worked in all 3.
Brian 0-1 with an ERA rate at 7 for 7 major league appearances. Fastball, slider, curve, and change.
You can see what JD mentioned earlier, similar to Jones, and how he holds that ball behind his head. Valbuena 2 hits, double, single, and 2 runs. High in the air to right. Rios back, takes a look back, and it is gone. Got it up into the jet stream. 8-2.
Well, he thought he had one last time. Pinged it off the wall for a single. No doubt about this one. Again, a lot of production from the bottom half of the Cubs batting order here today. That's a home run swing. That's number 6 for Luis.
3rd homer for the Cubs today. Grand slam Travis Wood. Solos, Scherholtz, and Valbuena to lead off innings. Have scored 26 runs in this series. The White Sox have 5. I'm counting the 2 on Tuesday, so really it's 24. Well, a White Sox fan caught the ball, so it's rare to see a Cub home run ball end up back on the field, but that's exactly what happened. 2-2. Slow roller. Keppinger will come up and field and get Barney.
Should the Cubs win this game, and they should, it will be their 4th win in a row. It'll be the first time all year they've won 4 consecutive ball games, and it comes on the heels of a 6-game losing streak, which was their longest losing streak of the year.
And it really looked like it was going to extend to 7 on Sunday, but they were able to erase a 4-0 deficit. Ryan Sweeney, the former Sox. Now, speaking of throwing the home run ball back, you probably remember 2009. Pudge Rodriguez, then with the Astros, hit his 300th career homer here at Wrigley. And I remember him talking about wanting to hit number 300 here because he knew the fans would throw it back onto the field, which they did, and he got.
Was it the legit ball, or was it one of those phantom replacement balls?
I'm not sure.
As far as he knows, he got a ball.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I remember we were joking about the fan who caught it. If he had known that it was Pudge's number 300, he would have negotiated a little bit. Sweeney takes the walk. Kevin Gregg is going to get some work in the ninth, even in a non-save spot. Strike one on DeJesus. Well, we have a chance. We want to mention again. We'd love for you to come out to Metro on Friday night, June 21st, after the Cubs host the Astros. The 2nd annual Hot Stove Cool Music Chicago concert, benefiting the foundation to be named later. Cubs charities as well. Go to metrochicago.com for tickets. Boy Dog Pondering will headline. The Hot Stove All-Stars. Peter Gammons, Theo Epstein, Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins, Scott Lucas from Local H, and Joel Murray will be hosting. I look forward to it. Friday night, June 21st. And we're still trying to figure out if JD's going to play cowbell or sing backup or both.
I probably couldn't even play the cowbell properly. And I don't know if it's possible to play that improperly.
Breaking ball is outside.
Does not vary from his routine. Hitters talk about not giving away at bats. Taking that same approach regardless of the game situation. One of the reasons why he's been such a good hitter for such a good long while now.
Yeah, is Johnny Cueto watching somewhere? Cleveland? They're in Cleveland, right?
Yeah, it's not just you, Johnny. He takes time. He goes through this pre-pitch routine all the time.
Backhanded play by Gillespie. 1, but not 2.
Two long throws. Jesus hustling out of the box. Beats it easily at first. So we were talking about Kyle Loesch taking a shot at joining that club of pitchers who have beaten all 30 teams. On this date in 1992, Scott Sanderson became the 9th pitcher to beat all 26 existing major league teams at that time. And that's a list that includes Nolan Ryan, Tommy John, Don Sutton, a lot of Hall of Famers there. Gaylord Perry, Rick the Owlman Wise, Doyle Alexander, and Goose Gossage.
Sure, we'll see Scott up here in the booth later on this season, singing the stretch. Grasso with a 1-1 to Castro. Popped into right, and it's going to be caught by Rios. Another leadoff homer, Luis Valbuena this time, and it's 8-2 going to the 9th. Cubs leading 8-2. And they'll go for the 2-ballpark sweep. 3 outs to go. Sweeney stays into play left for Soriano, and the Cubs closer Kevin Gregg with a 6-run lead.
Cubs have been winning comfortably here against the White Sox. Gregg has not pitched since Sunday. So out there just to stay sharp. And Sharp is exactly what he has been so far since putting on this Cub uniform for the 2nd time. 1-0 with a 0 ERA. 6 out of 6 in save tries.
A strike on Gillespie. All right, I think we've got it, partner. Daniel Wood tweeting extravaganza. So Feldmania and extravaganza. I kind of like it.
Now work with Samardzija. Samardzija.
I can work with Jeff maybe, but. Garza will pitch tomorrow. It's Wade Miley.
Action on that split finger pitch. So Wade Miley was not supposed to pitch in this series, but now he is.
Correct.
Is that the deal?
I believe it was Kennedy, Corbin, Cahill, and now it is Miley, Kennedy, Corbin this weekend. Did we mess up your scorebook?
No, I'm just thinking about Miley's a fly ball pitcher, and I'm thinking about his misfortune if the wind's blowing out here.
Sinker caught the corner on the inside. Well, number 26 today.
Of course, pitching at the ballpark in Arlington is no picnic either. So many of Gregg's innings have been really clean. He's attacking the strike zone. 13 innings. He's walked 5, punched out 13.
Paul Goldschmidt's ready for the weekend. He has 4 hits in that game in Texas. Diamondbacks still trailing. It is 9-5. And I think that game now has just gone final. When we see a box score, it says mid-9th and the home team's leading. It usually means it's over.
Game over. Inning and a third for Kevin on Sunday. He was the winning pitcher in that 5-4 win over the Reds.
Ground ball up the middle. It'll get into center, and Keppinger's on for the 4th time the last 2 days here at Wrigley. Had 3 hits yesterday.
Braves have released third baseman Juan Francisco, who's been designated for assignment anyway. And they've called up left-hander Alex Wood from Double-A.
So the Braves are now Sans Francisco.
Sans Francisco.
A chest block by Castillo.
Francisco was hitting just .234, but he'd hit 9 home runs. I guess that was last year. I'm sorry, I'm misreading that. .241 this year with 5 home runs, 16 driven in. He strikes out a lot there. He'll find a job.
Can hear a few Cub fans chanting sweep. Two and two. Swing and a miss on the split. 2 down.
At times this year, Kevin has kept that split finger pitch in his back pocket. He's broken it out a couple of times here this afternoon. Very effective use of it. And everybody up on their feet.
So the White Sox started this 4-game, now 3-game, 2-ballpark series at 500. They're 1 out away from dropping to 24 and 27. As JD mentioned, the Cubs an out away from their first 4-game winning streak of the season. And Cub fans having fun in the bleachers. And strike on Jimenez. Make it 2. Hector, the backup catcher, to Flowers, switch hitter. A little bit inside.
Oh my, good pitch, good try. And Fagan, the home plate umpire, didn't want to get caught up in the moment and ring him up. That's right on the edge. Not biting on the splitter on back-to-back tries. See if that forces Greg into a fastball. And back to that inside corner.
Ball 4.
Went back to that same pitch. This one a little further out.
Well, we continue on. It's De Aza. And Steele goes out and talks it over with the man who has set the major league record for number of G's in a 5-letter surname, Kevin Gregg. Pitch. Slider that time in the dirt. One and two. 31,968 in the friendly confines.
Splitter just too short. If it's up a little bit more, a little more carry on it, maybe he gets the eyes of the chase. Ball strike ratio atypical for Greg so far this year, but the sense that maybe he's working on that splitter a little bit here today. We'll see how these left-handed hitters react to it.
Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts waiting for that final out. Base hit center field. Here comes Keppinger. It is 8-3.
There goes Kevin Gregg's perfect earned run average. Not a big deal. Unlikely he was going to go through the season without allowing an earned run. Unfortunate for him, though, because it looked like he had Jimenez struck out. And had to throw more pitches than he would have liked as well.
It's only the third earned run allowed by this bullpen in the last 8 games, covering now almost 23 innings. Pitch to Ramirez. High strike. All of a sudden the pitch count nearing 30. Greg at 27 at the moment, so Chris Bosio falling down to the bullpen. So
yeah.
Carlos Villanueva is going to start to throw.
Yeah, you just hate to put his availability for tomorrow into question because of this outing. That's always a fine line a manager has to walk between getting a guy work, keeping him sharp, or just giving him rest. Sometimes you see a manager trot out there with 2 outs in the 9th and bring the guy in just for the final out. It's not really entertaining in a lopsided game to make a pitching change at that point, but obviously less likely that the pitch count is going to become an issue.
Here comes a 2-2. This will get way foul.
Ball was just up a little bit. He was out in front of it, but not where he wanted to throw that one. Hanging that W to the game's over. That's bad karma. And put the bats away. The 27th out.
Chopper to Valbuena. Lots of time. Cubs win
There you go. Now you can hang the W.
8-3 the final today. And the fans will sing here at Wrigley. So the Cubs own the Crosstown Cup here in 2013. Still one more game against the White Sox. That to make up date yet to be determined on the south side. The final score, the Cubs 8, the White Sox 3. More to come from Wrigley Field. Stay tuned. Time for our Bud Player of the Game. It is Travis Wood. Not only continues to pitch well, but also doing a lot of damage with the bat. The big blow today, the grand slam from Wood, the first by a Cubs pitcher in this ballpark since 1972.
Now, we knew there was a chance there'd be a big home run or two in this ball game today. We did not anticipate it coming from a pitcher, but if you're going to pick one, this guy can really swing the bat. 5th win on the year for Wood, his 2nd home run, and a single to go along with that long ball as well.
Cubs baseball brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. We finished just in time. We'll have more coming up. Our next WGN telecast of Cubs baseball comes up this Sunday. The Cubs will wrap up the homestand. They take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. 1 o'clock with the leadoff man. Once again, our final today. The Cubs 8, the White Sox 3. Cubs baseball in high definition has been brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Stay tuned. The 10th inning show is next. Welcome to a rainy 10th inning. I'll tell you the rain started about 2 minutes after the final out was recorded. Good timing for the Cubs today. 8 runs on 11 hits, 1 error, 6 left. For the White Sox, 3 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, 8 stranded. Travis Wood 5-3 with the win. Jake Peavy takes the loss to drop to 6-3. 2 hours 56 minutes in front of 31,968. The Cubs have won 4 in a row. More on that when we come back. Your final today, Cubs 8, White Sox 3. Let's go back to the 2nd inning. Darwin Barney. This was after a Luis Valbuena 2-out double. RBI single, 1-0 Cubs. Travis Wood would single, and then David DeJesus knocking in a run. 4 consecutive 2-out hits, and the Cubs getting an early lead. for Wood. Third inning now. Paul Konerko, one of his 2 RBI hits of the day. A single, making it 2-1. But then the game busted wide open. Travis Wood, second homer of the year. First career grand slam. Now that was pretty much it. The Cubs would continue scoring. Nate Scherholtz with a home run to lead off the bottom of the 5th off Nate Jones. That made it 7-1. And then it was all about Travis Wood on the mound, JD.
Yeah, Travis Wood having another solid start this afternoon. 6 innings. Pretty clean baseball. Walked a couple, punched out 6. Just an all-around outstanding performance from Travis Wood. Something we've grown accustomed to.
Diamondbacks and Cubs coming up Sunday at 1 with the leadoff man. We hope you join us then. The Cubs with the Crosstown Cup in their possession after going 3-0 against the White Sox. We'll see you Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody.